45 or so.
Dan Johnson here at Sebring 2012. We're looking at an airplane that many of our viewers know, but they don't know it with the names on the side. They also don't know this name. This is Greg Chaska.
That's correct.
That wasn't quite correct, but it's probably as good as most Americans will get, so pardon our mispronunciation of your last name. Greg is the new representative for the AERO AT, which we all knew as the Gobosh 700E. Now, the folks that did represent that sold the exact same airplane. You can confirm that, but they renamed it to give it some more marketing power in this country based on their beliefs. But now it's coming in with the original manufacturer's name. What's the name and where are they from?
It's AERO AT. The company is based in Mielec, Poland.
Mielec, Poland.
The same town where Sikorsky decided to put their helicopter plant.
We're the new one that they just did. Okay.
That's correct. It's this is the LSA version of the fully certified AT-3 aircraft flown in Europe and in the US. Has an American FAA certification and also European EASA certification.
Well, that's quite a credential for Americans. Most American pilots are still, they all know of light sport aircraft, but they don't know all the details. So many of them say, well, is it like a Part 23 certified aircraft? And you're saying this is known as the AT-3 under the AERO brand, not Gobosh 700. That's now gone. So the AT-3 has American FAR 23 certification?
The certification, we have a copy of this on display, signed in last year, about September time, and we proudly presented to our customers.
Excellent.
To make sure that they understand this is not just LSA, it's more.
It's more, but it is LSA, so you fully meet those standards, and it's an airplane that we've flown and we like it. There's going to be some new things in the panel now, you told me. We'll go have a look at those now, but
we have a Garmin G3X, 2 panels with Garmin GTX 330 transponder with traffic, which is Skyview
excellent
panel, and weather availability from XM. And basically,
it's the Garmin Deluxe stack for light sport aircraft.
Start today.
Excellent. So we'll go have a look in a minute. But once again, Greg Chaska. Chaska. I had trouble with that, but Greg I got. So that's good. Tell me what the internet address is so that our viewers can go see more after we're done with this video.
Its manufacturer address is www.aeroat.com.
So that's AEROAT.com. Okay. Well, thank you very much for speaking with us, Greg. Best of luck with this airplane in the USA.
Thank you.
Great. We're here at Sebring 2012, and we're looking at an airplane that says AT-4 on it. Earlier, I said AT-3. Both are correct, but the AT-4 is the USA product. The difference is, out here on the wing, they tell me that this one is just a little bit longer, just a few inches longer. That's necessary to keep it within the stall numbers that are necessary in the light sport aircraft space. But AT-3, AT-4 are both the same, with one other difference. The AT-3 is the one that has full Part 23 certification in the USA. So this same airplane, with just that wing difference, I suppose a few other small things, makes it a fully certified airplane in the conventional sense, as well as meeting the ASTM standards for a light sport aircraft in the USA. Great. Well, you know, a lot of times we have such a small little opening to get in. You can sort of get your hand down in there and you can pull out the dipstick, and that's about all. This is a nice big, almost a hood on this car. Like a car, but I could see a lot of parts of the engine in here. I could do a certain amount of maintenance through this opening, and then of course the rest of the cowl doesn't look like it would be too much work to get that off. I suppose a matter of minutes. But it looks like we've got dual hoods or doors. I'll let you close this one up so it's done properly. But let's look around on the other side as well. And again, the same theme is, it's what a nice sanitary installation as well. Lots of the proper use of safety paint and so forth. Looks great though. That's a nice way to be able to pre-flight and inspect this airplane.
Another safety factor, Dan, you may not consider it, but they have a charging unit on the outside there.
They do here.
So that if your battery's down or something, you're not putting cables and stuff into the engine compartment.
And we don't always see that. There are a few other LSA have that, but it's a limited number of them. So I think when we look inside, we'll end up seeing that that whole business about this airplane having conventional certification makes sense because they executed it in a very conventional way. And that thing you observed, the external power port, is a point of case.
Now this airplane is powered by the 912 products.
Yep, this is 100 horsepower, 912 with a 3-blade prop on it. That's a very common configuration, but it's a very common configuration because that engine works so well in this industry. And a 3-blade prop over a 2, well, a 2 has some more efficiency aerodynamically, and actually a single blade would have even more. But a 3-bladed prop makes for a lot of smoothness on a 4-cylinder engine, and that's why virtually all the LSA, including the AT-4, has that on it.
One of the other things I noticed, Dan, is when you park your airplane at an airport, you always have birds and stuff. This one's got protection for that.
Well, it does. There's all kinds of nice grading here over the inlet and over the radiator cooling. There's no birds going to be making a nest in this engine, at least not unless they're very clever and maybe fly in from the bottom, which I doubt.
You know, you do have steering wheels.
Well, I have to ask that. It appears to be a castering nose wheel. Is that correct, Greg? So it's a toe brake consideration then. You brake a little bit and the wheel will guide you that way. It may not be standard on all aircraft, but it's quite common. For example, the Cirrus SR-20, SR-22 both use that steering, as do many other airplanes.
So we're going to have a look at the interior of this now?
Let's go ahead and look inside. We hear about that nice avionics. Let's go look for ourselves.
And I just noticed this is all metal construction too.
It is. It's an all-metal airplane. It's very conventional in a lot of ways, and yet it's got the special qualities of a light sport. Lots of room back here on what's called the hat rack. And Greg has opened up the baggage area for us, and I see there's another opening right here. And down inside the baggage area, and a thing your camera probably won't show, is an inspection port that we'll look at. They're all over the airplane like this. Not ones you have to take off with a screwdriver or a special tool of some kind. Just push a finger in on them. We'll have a look at that later, but there's one down in the baggage compartment. And by the way, if I extend my arm fully, I can just reach the bottom of it. It's a pretty big area, plus a large hat rack. And then on the back wall here, if you can crane around there, you see the tow bars nicely attached in position. And that's always been a nice feature of this airplane as well.
I understand that tow bar can also be used to lock up the system for parking.
That's what I understand, yes. So that's a nice feature of it, that they made two purposes out of something that you have to have with you, but why not get more utility out of it? A lot of good thinking on this airplane. So now we're looking at the panel. Obviously we've got a nice big panel here. You can put lots of stuff in this, and as the manufacturer, they can configure it any way they like to suit an owner's interest. That's one of the special qualities about the light sport aircraft community. The manufacturer is in charge, doesn't have to ask permission from FAA to change things. They evaluate them, they test them, they make sure it's all right, then they can say, yep, you can do that now. And that can happen in literally days, depending on the amount of testing. In this airplane here, we see the full Garmin 300 package with those two nice vertical screens they've got. Your camera's probably not showing up the detail here too well, but the look is the way it always is. But this is the deluxe Garmin setup, Garmin dual screen setup, along with the radio and transponder. And then I always love the detail when they get it really right. The exact precision of the switches and knobs. That's not a big deal, but sometimes they're not done quite as in such a sanitary, tidy way as this is. This is a comfortable airplane. Leather seats, with bolsters on the side. That means this little curve out right here on each side. It kind of sort of helps center you in the seat. I don't know what the cockpit dimension is here, but it's pretty wide. Maybe not as wide as the very biggest ones, but plenty big enough for almost all large Americans that want to get in it. I see a lot of air inlets here. That's always good. These kind of canopies give a wonderful view when the canopy is pulled down, and there are the big megaplex openings there. But that's not always enough air, and you don't want those open while you're cruising along at max speed. This will do very close to the 120 knot speed limit. So you've got lots of air inlets around, and all over, just a very nice setup to it. Of course, dual joysticks, dual rubber pedals, dual toe brakes on both sides. That's kind of necessary because this is a castering nose wheel, free swiveling nose wheel that you steer it by the brakes. And that may seem odd. You'll get used to it in literally 5 or 10 seconds. Very easy to do. And of course, gives you differential braking so that you can turn very tightly on an airport ramp.
Now, how are the flaps operated?
Well, the flaps are a center-operated stick here with a typical push to right in front of my hand. There is the push button. So if I push down on that button, and I've just released it now, I didn't do anything, and I'm going to move these straps out of the way so you can see clearly labeled in big numbers here, 0, 15, and 40. But as we pull back, very clear where you get to. You can hear it, you can feel it, and you know that's happening. But as I look out the wing here, I don't see any flaps from the cockpit. That's because those are split flaps. Split flaps extend down just from the bottom of the wing, and that keeps the top surface of the wing very nice and clean. So that, in theory anyway, a smaller wing area can do more work by offering a very smooth upper surface. Continuing, I'll look around the interior of the cockpit. Alongside the flap lever that we just looked at, right down here is a nice wheel, very convenient. Both sides can reach it, and it's kind of it's got detents in it, so that you can just roll it with your hand. I'm not going to go too far here. I don't want to upset the way they have it. Also, with a nice indicator, it's a little bit of it's in shadow there, but it shows you the position of that. You can see it moving forward. If I get it back here in the sun, you can see that moving quite readily. So it's pretty easy to get that just where it needs to be before flight. Then another thing I like, you normally fly a joystick with right hand on the stick. Most people do this. Right hand on the stick, left hand on the throttle, and that works great if you're in that seat, because the throttle is usually in the middle. This one has two throttles on it, which is, I think, a very nice feature. Not that difficult to achieve, but it makes it more user-friendly for the pilot. As to fuel and endurance, right up ahead of us here, there's a cap right up there where the canopy is closed. You'll have easy access to that. And that's a 17-gallon tank that will give us 3+ hours of flying time behind this 912 100 horsepower Rotax.
So if we want to get more information on the aircraft, Dan, where would we go?
We go to AEROAT.com. Now the airplane is called the AT-4, but the website is AEROAT.com.
And do you have any information on this airplane on your site, Dan?
I have information about the airplane. I haven't flown this particular one, but I have flown the Gobosh 700, and it is almost the identical airplane. The Gobosh name was strictly a marketing term. This is the airplane that was all along. So yes, that's available on BuyDanJohnson.com or BYDanJohnson.com. And reporting here today from Sebring 2012 on a bright sunny day, this is for AircraftReporters.tv.